Who's news 10? Hi. You hear me all right? Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got it? Okay. We'll tell everybody. We'll tell everybody.
Slide by you here somehow, some way. See it through here? Good morning. Beautiful day.
Have you back here? What a. All right. I know it's kind of tight, and we try to maintain social distancing, so we'll do our best here. I am Chief Roland Nenny, Police Department. I'll do a quick introduction to who's here, and then we'll get started. We have Eileen Banker, who is the Village of Albion Mayor, Joseph Cardone, the Orleans County District Attorney, and Dale Banker, who's the Orleans County Emergency Management Director, who oversees the county fire investigators, and Rick Carey with the New York State Office of Fire Prevention and Control. So what we're going to do is just do a quick incident overview of what occurred on Saturday, and we've made an arrest in that, and we'll cover that and cover the investigation. So on Saturday, you know, right around 4:30 p.m., the 911 center started to receive calls. The initial call, excuse me, was for an explosion at 221 West State Street in the Village of Albion and smoke coming from the garage. The 911 center then received numerous calls reporting a fire at 221 West State Street. And immediately, the Albion Police Department, Albion Fire Department, and numerous mutual aid companies were immediately dispatched. Albion police officers were the first to arrive on scene. They found a structure heavily involved in fire at 221 with an exposure problem to the house to the east, which would be 219 West State Street, and a house to the north. 221 is located on the corner of East Academy and West State Street, so the house on East Academy was all showing an exposure problem. When I'm done up here, I'm going to show you some body camera footage, and you can see what our officers saw on the arrival. Officers also encountered several explosions that were going off on their arrival, and those explosions went on for about 15 or 20 minutes into the incident. The first arriving officers also encountered the occupant of 221 when they arrived. His name is Gary A. Tarr. He initially told our officers that he was inside the garage. You will also see that on our body camera footage, our initial contact with him. He said he was in the garage, and he sustained, you know, he obviously had injuries. He sustained injuries to his face, his torso, and his extremities. He was immediately transported by COVA ambulance to Strong Memorial Hospital. We initially interviewed him at the scene. Obviously, he was receiving medical treatment, and he told us that he was basically mixing compounds together to make an explosive. So I'll cover that more in a second. So we responded to Strong Memorial Hospital, and one of our officers interviewed him there after he got his initial treatment. And he stated that he was mixing several substances and compounds together that he bought at a store locally, and in the effort to make an explosive substance. He also stated that he tried to test that substance by burning a small portion of that. He lit that on fire inside the garage, and that immediately caused an explosion, and that's where he got his injuries. That was the initial explosion that was called into the 911 center. He stated that the fire then rapidly spread, and you know, he left the garage at that point. He was inside the garage at the time of that initial explosion. As that fire, you know, you'll see, we'll show you the body cameras, that fire quickly spread. It was an intense fire. It spread to the home to the east and to that home to the north that I indicated earlier. Prior to even the fire department arriving, we had the other homes were starting to be involved with the fire. Because Mr. Tarr told us that he was mixing explosive material, and because of the explosions that were going off on our arrival, we immediately contacted the Monroe County Bomb Squad, and our federal partners that handle explosives, being the FBI and the Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. The Monroe County Sheriff's Department Bomb Squad responded to the scene along with a technician from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Their initial response to us was to one, the most important thing was to make sure that the scene was safe. So they did an assessment of the blast damage. They also did an assessment to make sure that there was no other explosives, and we did not have to worry about our first responders or other civilians in the area of any further explosions, as the fire department had to overhaul the fire scene, and then our investigators had to get inside. We also had the Orleans County Fire Investigation Team on scene, the Office of Fire Prevention and Control, State Fire, their fire investigators, along with the Albion Police Department to conduct the investigation. The 3 homes that were involved were heavily damaged. The houses located at 221 and 219 West State Street have been deemed a total loss by the insurance companies, and the home located at 5 East Academy Street is going to be evaluated sometime later this morning, but that is also believed that that is a total loss. 2 of the homes are due to be torn down at some point in the next probably week or so. Mr. Tar was cooperative with us. We had a further interview with him through the investigation. In our investigation, he told us that he purchased these compounds and these materials locally. He was in the process of mixing them together, and he was also dismantling fireworks that he had obtained from out of state. These were commercial grade fireworks that he obtained. He was taking them apart, and in the effort to take the substance out of them and combine them with the substance that he was mixing together. His intent was to make further fireworks, but ultimately what our investigation revealed is what he did was he created several explosive devices. These devices are what was exploding when the fire, and you'll hear the body camera footage will show you that. Also the compounds that he had mixed together, those were the things that were exploding. We also learned that a lot of these devices, we believe a lot of these devices are still in the community. The investigation's ongoing to that, but we have a great concern that these devices have been distributed to other people in the community, and we've recovered a few of these, and I'll also show you that. The other thing I have is I have a media package for you that has everything I'm going to show you on our body camera, and it has pictures of these devices. And the pictures, too, just to tell you when we talk about a device, it's not an explosive device, meaning that it's detonated, electronically with wires. It's what's commonly known as a firework or a hand-thrown explosive firework with a fuse in it. We've also learned that some of these devices may have a fuse that was put in them that have an extremely fast burn rate. And what I mean by that is the burn rate of the fuse is so fast that from the point you ignite it, it will immediately detonate or explode. We have great concern for that because there is no chance whatsoever to light the device and throw it. It will immediately explode, which would ultimately result in the loss of a limb, and more importantly, our concern is the loss of life. So we're asking anybody in the community that has these devices or knows anybody that has these devices to contact the 911 center. Our intent is not to charge anybody with possession of these. We want to recover these. These devices are so dangerous that, our partners, we work closely with the Monroe County Sheriff's Bomb Squad. They will come out, and a bomb technician will come out and recover them from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. That's how dangerous these are. So we're asking anybody in the community that has these to call us. We'll recover them. We'll have a bomb technician recover them, and so we can properly dispose of them. And I'll show you again the pictures of those. So, as a result of Mr. Tar's reckless conduct by intentionally lighting that fire, which caused the explosion and ultimately the loss of 3 homes, he's been charged criminally with 5 counts of reckless endangerment in the first degree, which is a D felony. The reason there's 5 counts is because of the 3 homes, other than himself, there were 5 people in those homes at the time of that explosion and the time of that fire. 3 counts of arson in the 4th degree. Arson in the 4th degree is when you intentionally set a fire that recklessly damages property. That is a E felony. 3 counts of criminal mischief in the 4th degree by recklessly damaging property, 3 counts being the 3 houses that were ultimately destroyed, and 3 counts of reckless endangerment in the reckless endangerment of property, which is a B misdemeanor. In accordance with New York State law, he was issued an appearance ticket. He will appear in the Town of Albion Court initially on March 2nd, And the reason that it's March 2nd is because of COVID-19 concerns. Our local courts are now being shut down and delayed because of the increased cases we have. So everything's being pushed off. So his initial appearance is not until March 2nd. So what I'd like to do now is I'm going to show you on a couple of videos here. So the first one you'll see is our initial arriving officer. So this is on the West State Street side. This is down about 5 or 6 houses from the scene. So you're not going to see much here, but what you're going to hear is our officer arriving and the explosions that were going off. Hopefully. So those are the initial explosions. This next video is our second officer arriving. He is on the East Academy Street side. Over here is where the fire is, and you'll see that the fire involved in the garage, or what was left of the garage. The garage was immediately destroyed, and believe it or not, he was inside that garage. He's lucky to be alive today. So you'll see our second officer arriving. This is about 30 seconds or a minute after that video, and you'll also see Mr. Tar in here. This is where our initial contact was with him.
Oh, smokes.
This is Mr. Tar.
Yeah. What do you have, from glass? I don't know. Okay.
And his initial statement was, well, the fireworks are gone. So he makes an admission right there what was going on. He cooperated with us from that point forward. This next video is the same officer. This is 5 minutes after that video right there. And this just shows you the intensity of the fire. That is the fire. That is the house right there, and there's 5 East Academy that immediately began exposure problems that we had with that. This is 10 minutes into the fire. It's a still picture. This right here is 221. This is where the garage was located, and this shows the involvement right here of 5 East Academy. Now, right to the east of that, on the other side, you'll see the flames up here is the house next door, which was 219 West State Street. This is 15 minutes into it. This is from, again, the West State Street side. You'll see right here, this is the fire department actively engaged in trying to extinguish this fire. And you'll also hear, now we're 15 minutes in, you'll hear some more explosions that occur, which just goes to show you the amount of material that was inside this garage that was contained in here. So this is 15 minutes in. There's another explosion right there. So these are the devices. Now this picture, I just want to try to explain this. These are about the size of a toilet paper roll. So these aren't small. These are pretty big devices. These are 2 of the ones that we recovered. The Monroe County Bomb Squad immediately took possession of those. And I have media packages up here that have all this stuff we'll release to you. And then this is a top view of them. These are the fuses too. We don't really know what the burn rate of those are. They've been taken by the Monroe County Bomb Squad, and the Monroe County Bomb Squad works closely with alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives, and the FBI with their bomb techs. They're going to be taking a closer look at them, but we do know that they are extremely dangerous. And then lastly, this is Mr. Tar. We're going to release you his mugshot. Pursuant to law, we're releasing the mugshot because we're asking anybody that doesn't know him but has seen him, or maybe knows, from his picture where these devices may have ended up. We really want to hear. We want to hear from those people that have them, so we can recover them. Again, I want to stress that our intent is not to criminally charge anybody that's in possession of these. They are extremely dangerous, and we want them so we can dispose of them. So I will release you this entire package, which has his mugshot. So we'll open it up for any questions you might have. The district attorney can comment on any prosecutorial issues. So any questions? Yes.
So why was he making these, and why would people also want to get them from him?
It's fireworks. He was making these devices for fireworks, to use them as explosive for fireworks. We received, as you all probably know, and you heard law enforcement, in this year, for whatever reason, we have just had numerous fireworks complaints. And, a lot of people have gone out of state to neighboring states to get them, and, You know, this is why, you know, fireworks are unlawful in New York State. I know around the 4th of July there are, and I guess State Fire can expand on this, but there are some fireworks that are allowed, but they are not explosives. They are anything that will cause damage, destruction. They're more aerial or, you know, fountains and things that cause sparks and sparklers. But these are extremely dangerous. He was making his own fireworks.
So was his goal just to make them to sell them? Because people...
We haven't got information on any sales, but we know that they have been distributed through the community, so we don't know if they were sold or just given away, but we know that they're out there. Any other questions?
So it'll be kind of like when people hand in guns kind of thing?
Yeah.
There'll just be no questions asked?
Yep, yep.
People can just drop it here? Where should they drop it?
They should not drop them. They should not touch them. They should call us. We don't want anybody touching them. I mean, you may have, the people that have them may have handled them already and think that they're safe, but the compounds that were used are extremely volatile and dangerous. So we're just asking people to call 911. Don't touch them. Leave them where they're at. We'll come out. We'll look at them, and then we'll have a bomb technician come and recover them and take them.
Those people won't be prosecuted?
No,
in any way?
they will not. No, we want them. We want to get them safely disposed of.
Do you know if he had anybody else working with them or not?
No, we don't believe so. We don't believe so.
Will they be questioned at all, or?
No, pursuant to this investigation, you know, the fire investigation is pretty much over. We know what happened there. We're just, you know, I mean, we'd like to know where they came from, so we know that that's where they are, but we're not, you know, if people don't want to answer questions, then absolutely, we just want them. Our intent is not to you know, even record people's names if they don't want to. That's how dangerous these are. We just want them back to dispose of them.
Did you say how many that he sold?
We don't know. We don't know exactly how many are out there. So
is the belief that he didn't know that they were like this deadly?
no, I think he, you know, it's an explosive. He's mixing, you know, explosive substances together. I think his belief at the time, and again, I can't comment on what his thought was, but he tried to light a small portion of this to see how it would react, and it reacted very volatilely.
And for the people who might have already have them, like I'm just wondering, what if they got these knowing that they were dangerous? Like what if there was a motive behind them getting them too?
Well, if there's a motive where you're going to have a criminal intent to use them, that's different, you know, so, you know, that's a whole different avenue if that was their purpose, and that would be a whole different investigative path. But right now, we're just, you know, we're just trying to get them back. We just want them disposed of safely.
Will he face more charges because he brought them across the state line?
At this point, our charges are solely focused on the fire. I don't believe there'll be any more charges related to that. Again, we've discussed this with our federal partners, and we're going to keep this at the state level at this point. So, you know, when that occurred and how that occurred, we don't know exactly. But we do know that that's where some of the substances came from, was dismantling commercial-grade fireworks.
Chief, is Mr.'s car considered dangerous right now?
No.
He was given an appearance
No.
for so long to appear in court.
No, he's not, you know, and his intent, like I said, that's why these are reckless acts, and the foundation of all these charges is reckless behavior. His intent was not to do anything that would cause the loss of property or the loss of life or injury to anybody. This was a reckless act, and that's why the foundation of those charges are.
Are you concerned he's going to do it again?
You know, I can't answer that question. You know, I don't know what, you know, the future holds with any of things like that.
He's in custody.
No, he's not. He's been issued an appearance ticket. He was interviewed by us. He came down voluntarily. He was interviewed, and he was released on an appearance ticket pursuant to law.
Well, let's say you add up all those charges. How many years in jail is that equivalent to that?
Well, good morning. I'm Joseph Cardone, the Orleans County District Attorney. And, before I answer that, I just want to acknowledge the work of the Albion Police Department, the other county departments, our state partners, and our federal partners. And you can see what an excellent job they've done in addressing this situation. The highest crime that's been charged here is a D felony. So his potential sentence, if he were to receive the maximum sentence, is 2 1/3 to 7 years in state prison. That's the highest charge. that we have at this point. I think it's important to stress that at this point, in speaking with the chief, we don't feel that there's anything sinister afoot here that is leading to us to be concerned that other people are endangered, other than the fact that these explosive devices are out in the community. So I don't think we need to be concerned in that regard. I do want to state, though, that this was an individual who foolishly got involved in a very dangerous activity that has endangered, as you can see, the other people in the community, and it could have led to far worse consequences, but for the quick action of law enforcement in this matter. So, again, just want to make sure that we are properly acknowledging the work of these various departments.
There's 5 counts on that D felony. Is that 5 times 2 1/3? Is that all consecutive? Or
It would all be concurrent because it's the same criminal transaction, so to speak, so you can't add that one on top of the other.
What about the other offenses, though?
Well,
Can you add those and make those consecutive?
yeah, unfortunately not, no.
Does he have a history or a criminal record?
No.
Can you talk about how dangerous, and this might be for the chief, how dangerous if someone has one of those toilet paper size explosives, what could happen in their home?
Well, first of all, the substances that were mixed together are volatile themselves. So there's no quality control with this. These are things that were bought locally in local stores to create an explosive substance. Then combined with commercial grade explosives, they're extremely volatile. There is always the chance that these could go off on their own, but they're extremely dangerous if you try to light them. So that is our fear, is there's not any quality control with this. This is not a commercially produced product where it's done, with any type of scientific, specifics to it. So, there's a chance. Again, it's an explosive. I'm not a bomb technician, but I know after speaking with the bomb technicians that worked with us on this, they take extreme safety measures when they're handling things like this. So, I would just follow their lead that they're dangerous.
How do you know that they're still in the community?
We've received information that supports that. We've received information, and the 2 pictures that are there are 2 that we recovered from somebody that had them that he produced. So that right there, we know that they were out there.
Just to be clear, are we believing he was selling these homemade?
We don't know if he was selling them or giving them away, but we do know they ended up outside of his possession.
Do you have any remorse for his actions?
He does. He does. And again, this was like the district attorney alluded to. This was this was reckless behavior. This was not anything intentional, and he does have remorse. His injuries too. I mean, that's his picture from yesterday. So his injuries have healed up a little bit on his face, but he does have some other injuries, and he has an extreme loss of hearing, as one could imagine. He was inside not a large garage when this explosion went off that was heard from some distance. So he does have hearing loss, and he is remorseful.
Do you know how long he was making these devices?
I do not. We do know that it's been some time, and what I mean by some time, it's been not just in the past week or month or so. So we know that it's been a while. So somebody may have these and may have obtained them some time ago.
And this was the garage of a home that he was renting from others?
Yes, that is correct.
And he has no previous record.
No. Any other
He lived
questions?
in the house alone?
He lives with his girlfriend in the home, who was home at the time.
Was she injured in any way?
No, she was not injured. He was the only one that
Was it a
abstained.
miracle in a way?
It's amazing that there wasn't more injuries from the blast that went off. Luckily it was contained to the garage. The garage was damaged. The walls were basically separated from the structure from the blast. So it's a danger that there was nobody nearby, that there was not a loss of life or serious injury to anybody, for sure.
He was the only one injured in that fire.
Yes, that is correct.
And so it's also your belief that people who obtained these from him, didn't get them to intent any harm, like maybe it was
No, we don't, and we don't believe anybody was that had obtained these, or he was making them to cause damage to property or to cause physical injury to anybody. They were more of a novelty type display thing, as you know, to be used as fireworks. Any other questions? All right, what I have up here is there's the slide right there is contained within the CD package, and there's CDs right there. If anybody, you know, I think there's probably enough for everybody. If there's not, you all have my email address. I send the press releases out. If you email me, we can. Our clerk will email you exactly what's on there, probably in 2 emails because of the size of it. So thanks for coming, and that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Except before I go, does anybody want to have any other comments?